Welcome to Book Reviews, where we explore the best books across every genre. I'm Joanna McCann. I'm joined as always by Gerald LeBlanc. Don't forget to grab your free copy of the audiobook using the link in the description below. Let's get started.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Always fun to dive in.
Today, we're going to be exploring something I think is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Which is the connection between the body and the brain.
Yeah.
And we'll be taking excerpts from the book, The Mind-Body Method, to sort of guide our conversation today.
Sounds good.
And basically just really uncovering how moving your body can supercharge your brain power.
Yeah, I mean, it really challenges the idea that the mind and body are separate, right?
Totally.
We often think of exercise as purely physical, but the reality is they're totally intertwined.
Yeah. And this book really
Yeah.
kind of starts by taking us way back in time
Okay.
to think about how our brains evolved
Right.
for a life that was wildly different from how most of us live today.
Yeah.
I mean, think about our ancestors constantly on the move, hunting and gathering.
Right. Absolutely. And their very survival depended on their brains being in tune with their bodies.
Right.
Those who were best at navigating that challenging environment, the ones who could find food, avoid danger, they had brains that were essentially wired for movement.
So what's the takeaway for us modern humans who are glued to our chairs most of the day?
Yeah.
The book uses this really interesting example of the Aerial tribe in Kenya.
Okay.
Some of them live a nomadic lifestyle, while others have settled into farming.
Right.
And the difference is striking.
Yeah, the nomadic aerial who are constantly active
Right.
show better concentration and impulse control.
Wow.
It makes you wonder, if some of our modern struggles, like ADHD, might stem from this mismatch between our genes and our environment.
I was just going to say, that's such an interesting point.
Yeah.
Because it's like our brains are still stuck in the Stone Age while our bodies are living in the digital age.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Stone Age brains, let's talk about stress.
Okay.
We all know that feeling of overwhelm.
Yes.
When we're stressed out, heart racing, thoughts swirling.
Yeah, that's your body's stress response kicking in.
Okay.
It's primarily controlled by the amygdala, a part of your brain that acts like your personal alarm system. Okay.
It's constantly scanning for threats.
So for those of us who haven't spent much time with our amygdala lately, could you break that down a bit more?
Sure. Imagine a watchdog that's always on high alert.
Okay.
That's your amygdala.
Got it.
The problem is, in our modern world, it often mistakes a traffic jam for a saber-toothed tiger.
Right.
Triggering that fight or flight response, even when there's no real danger.
So basically my amygdala is probably freaking out right now just thinking about rush hour.
Probably.
But seriously, how can we tame that overactive watchdog?
Well, that's where exercise comes in.
Okay.
The book explains how physical activity can actually retrain your amygdala,
Okay.
making it less likely to overreact to everyday stressors.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's like exercise can help us rewire our brains to be more resilient in the face of stress.
absolutely.
The book mentions a study where anxiety-prone students were asked to either walk or run.
Right. And while both groups experienced a decrease in anxiety,
Okay.
the runners saw a more significant change.
Yeah, what's interesting is that researchers think more intense exercise helps the brain reinterpret that feeling of a racing heart
Oh.
as something positive rather than threatening.
No.
It's like your brain is saying, hey, this isn't a panic attack. This is just me getting stronger.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So exercise can basically help us flip the script on anxiety.
Yeah.
Now, the book also tells this wild story about a woman who couldn't feel fear
Huh.
because of damage to her amygdala.
That's a fascinating case.
Yeah.
Because it shows just how complex the brain is.
Right.
Even though she couldn't experience fear in most situations,
Yes.
she panicked when exposed to carbon dioxide.
Oh, wow. So even without a functioning amygdala,
Yeah.
her brain still recognized suffocation as like a primal threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this really underscores the importance of understanding and managing stress.
Right.
Because when that stress response is chronically activated,
Yeah,
it can wreak havoc on both our physical and mental health.
for sure. And speaking of mental health, the book goes on to talk about this incredible substance called BDNF,
Yeah.
which is being called the brain's natural fertilizer.
I love that.
And it's crucial for the growth, protection, and repair of brain cells.
Yeah, what's remarkable is that exercise is one of the most effective ways to boost BDNF production.
Wow.
It's like giving your brain all the nutrients it needs to thrive.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
The book shares the story of Rita Levi-Montalcini, who discovered nerve growth factor,
Right.
which is a close relative of BDNF.
It's a remarkable story.
Yeah.
Imagine making a groundbreaking scientific discovery using simple tools in your bedroom during World War II.
Wow.
Her story really shows the power of scientific curiosity, even in the face of adversity.
Absolutely. And get this, BDNF doesn't just protect brain cells.
All right.
It also plays a key role in memory.
Yeah.
The book highlights how exercise can boost both short-term and long-term memory.
And a key player in this is the hippocampus.
Okay.
Think of it as your brain's memory filing cabinet. And exercise, well, it's like giving that filing cabinet a serious upgrade, making it more efficient and effective.
So we're literally strengthening the parts of our brains that help us learn and remember.
Absolutely.
Just by moving our bodies.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is pretty amazing.
And I remember reading about a study where endurance training actually reversed age-related shrinkage of the hippocampus in older adults.
That study is incredibly exciting because it suggests that we have more control over our cognitive health than we might think.
Right.
It's like turning back the clock on brain aging.
But there was also that cautionary tale about those ultra-runner mice.
Yes.
Who were bred for extreme running.
Right.
And their memory actually suffered, right?
Right, which is an important reminder that balance is key.
Yeah.
While exercise is incredibly beneficial.
Right.
Chronic stress, even from things like overtraining, can be detrimental.
So it's not about pushing ourselves to the limit.
Yeah.
But rather finding that sweet spot where exercise enhances our brain power.
Absolutely.
Without overwhelming our system.
Yeah.
We need to move smarter, not necessarily harder.
Absolutely. It's about working with our biology, not against it.
I like it.
And speaking of working with our biology, let's shift gears and talk about focus.
Okay.
You know that feeling when your brain feels scattered, like you just can't concentrate on anything?
Oh, tell me about it. It's like my brain has a million tabs open and they're all buffering at the same time.
I know that feeling.
Speaking of which, the book talks about this test called the Erickson Flanker Task,
Okay.
which is used to measure selective attention.
It's a clever way to assess how well we can hone in on specific information while tuning out distractions.
Right.
And research has shown that people who are physically fit tend to perform better on this task.
So being in shape not only makes you physically stronger, but also strengthens your ability to focus.
Right. It all ties back to that mind-body connection.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
And when you think about the impact of exercise on dopamine, it starts to make even more sense.
Okay, now we're getting into some brain chemistry.
A little bit.
So for those who aren't familiar, can you explain what dopamine is and what it does?
Of course.
Yeah.
Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, basically a chemical messenger in the brain.
Okay.
It plays a crucial role in motivation, reward, and attention.
Okay.
And guess what?
Right.
Exercise can actually increase dopamine levels, making it easier to focus and stay on task.
So it's like exercise gives our brains that extra dose of dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
We need to stay sharp and focused.
Exactly.
And this brings up a fascinating point about how our brains experience the world.
Okay.
We're constantly bombarded with information, right?
Yeah.
So how does exercise help us filter through all that noise and actually pay attention to what matters?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's like trying to listen to a conversation in a noisy room.
Right.
When our dopamine levels are low, it's hard to pick out the signal from all the noise.
Right.
But exercise can help fine-tune those attention and reward systems,
Yeah.
making it easier to focus and concentrate.
This is all starting to make so much sense.
Yeah.
So we've covered stress, memory, focus. What else can exercise do for our brains?
Yeah.
Well, the book says it can even boost our creativity.
This is one of the most exciting areas of research.
Okay.
There's growing evidence that physical activity can enhance both divergent and convergent thinking.
Now, for those of us who aren't cognitive scientists, can you break down what those terms actually mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
Divergent thinking is all about generating lots of ideas, like brainstorming.
Okay.
Convergent thinking is more about zeroing in on the one right answer,
Got it.
the best solution to a problem.
Okay.
And studies have shown that exercise can boost both types of thinking.
Wow. So whether we're trying to come up with new ideas or solve complex problems,
Yeah.
exercise can help us think outside the box.
Absolutely.
The book mentions a Stanford study where walking boosted creative output by a whopping 60%.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you think about all the ways we could be incorporating movement into our daily routines
Right.
to spark our creativity.
I know I'm definitely going to be taking more walks during those brainstorming sessions.
Me too.
But the book makes it clear that creativity isn't just about some magical eureka moment.
Exactly. Even the most prolific creators like Mozart and Newton
Right.
relied on consistent effort and practice.
Right.
It's about showing up and doing the work day after day.
So exercise can help us create the optimal conditions for our brains to thrive.
Absolutely.
But it's not a shortcut to becoming a genius.
Right.
It's about putting in the work and giving our brains the tools they need to excel.
Precisely. And this brings us to the question of intelligence.
Okay.
Can exercise actually make us smarter?
Now that's a question I'm really curious about.
I know, it's a big one.
The book mentions a study of over 1 million Swedish military recruits
Wow.
that found a link between physical fitness and higher IQ scores.
It's a fascinating study because it suggests that physical fitness might actually be linked to cognitive ability.
Wow.
And what makes it even more compelling is that they found this connection even in identical twins.
Wait, so even when you control for genetics, fitness still seems to play a role in intelligence?
Yeah, it really highlights the plasticity of the brain,
Wow.
its ability to change and adapt throughout our lives.
That's mind-blowing, and the book points out that the areas of the brain most impacted by exercise, the hippocampus and frontal lobe,
Yeah.
are also the areas most involved in intelligence.
It's like exercise is strengthening the very foundation of our cognitive abilities.
This deep dive is already blowing my mind.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
So it's not just about feeling good or being physically healthy.
Right.
Exercise is a mental upgrade, plain and simple,
It's an investment in your most valuable asset.
which is our brain, our brains.
Yeah,
And the benefits go way beyond just hitting the gym.
absolutely.
The book talks about the importance of simple, everyday movement.
Absolutely. It's about weaving movement into the fabric of our lives.
Right, yeah.
Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, walking or biking to work, doing some gardening.
Yeah.
Those small changes can add up to make a big difference.
For sure, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that weaving movement into the fabric of our lives. I love that weaving movement into the fabric of our lives.
Yeah.
The book actually mentions these blue zones,
Okay.
regions around the world where people are known for their exceptional longevity.
It's fascinating how in those blue zones, physical activity is simply a natural part of daily life.
Right.
It's not something they have to force themselves to do. It's
Right.
just ingrained in their culture and environment.
It makes you wonder, what would happen if we all embraced that kind of lifestyle?
Yeah.
You know? What if we designed our lives to be more movement friendly?
It's a compelling question.
Yeah.
If we could shift our mindset away from seeing exercise as a chore
Yeah.
and move towards embracing movement as a fundamental part of a fulfilling life, imagine the impact on our well-being.
I know the book really drives home the point that our brains are essentially
Yeah,
Stone Age brains operating in a digital world.
absolutely.
We're surrounded by technology that encourages us to be sedentary,
Right. Yeah.
but our brains are craving movement.
Yeah.
It's no wonder we're struggling with things like anxiety, depression, difficulty concentrating.
It's like this mismatch between our biology and our environment is creating all sorts of problems.
Right.
And it can even lead to a decline in cognitive function as we age.
Right. But the good news is we have the power to change that.
We do.
We can choose to move more, to
Yeah.
prioritize physical activity,
Absolutely.
to make it a non-negotiable part of our day.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be complicated.
Right.
It can be as simple as taking a walk in nature, playing with your kids, dancing to your favorite music, anything that gets you moving and brings you joy.
Speaking of joy,
Okay.
that reminds me of something else the book touched on.
Yeah.
The link between exercise and creativity.
Yeah.
We talked about how movement can boost both divergent and convergent thinking, but I'm curious to explore that further.
Well, one of the most fascinating aspects of this connection is the impact exercise has on our brain waves.
Okay.
Studies have shown that physical activity can induce a state of alpha brainwave activity,
Okay.
which is associated with relaxation, focus, and enhanced creativity.
So it's like exercise puts our brains into this sweet spot
Uh-huh.
where creative ideas can flow more easily.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's like clearing the mental clutter and allowing space for inspiration to come through.
I remember reading about a study where participants were asked to come up with creative uses for everyday objects,
Okay.
and those who had exercised before the task came up with significantly more original and innovative ideas.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
It is.
It suggests that we can prime our brains for creative thinking simply by getting our bodies moving.
Right.
And it makes you wonder about all the missed opportunities for creative breakthroughs because we're stuck in our chairs.
I know I'm definitely going to be incorporating more movement into my own creative process from now on.
Me too.
But it's important to remember that creativity isn't just about having those aha moments, right?
Absolutely.
Even the most brilliant ideas need to be nurtured and developed.
Right.
That's where consistent effort and practice come in.
Yeah, exercise can provide the spark, but it's up to us to fan the flames.
So it's this beautiful synergy between our physical and mental efforts.
Absolutely.
We need both to reach our full creative potential.
Exactly. It's about harnessing the power of the mind-body connection to unlock our creative genius.
This is all so inspiring.
It really is.
It's like a whole new world of possibilities opens up when we start to see exercise as more than just a way to burn calories or tone our muscles.
Yeah, it's about optimizing our brains,
Right.
enhancing our mood, boosting our creativity, and even protecting ourselves against cognitive decline.
It's about investing in the most valuable asset we have,
Which is
our brains.
Our brains, exactly.
And one of the most exciting areas of research in this field is the link between exercise and intelligence.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
I was just about to bring that up.
Okay.
The book mentioned that study of over 1 million Swedish military recruits,
Okay.
where they found a correlation between physical fitness and higher IQ scores.
Right.
But what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Can exercise truly make us smarter?
It's a complex question,
Right.
but the research suggests that there's a definite connection.
Okay.
Exercise seems to enhance a wide range of cognitive abilities,
Okay.
including memory, attention, processing speed, and executive function.
So it's not just about having a sharper memory or being able to focus better.
Yeah.
It's about improving our overall cognitive capacity.
Exactly, and this is especially relevant when we consider the challenges of our modern world.
Right.
We're constantly bombarded with information required to multitask and expected to make quick decisions. These cognitive demands can be incredibly taxing on our brains.
That's like we're running a mental marathon every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just like a marathon runner needs to train their body,
Right.
we need to train our brains to perform at their best.
Yeah.
Exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have for doing just that.
This is all starting to paint a very clear picture.
Yeah.
Exercise isn't just about physical health. It's about mental fitness as well.
It's about creating the optimal conditions for our brains to thrive, not just survive.
Right.
And one of the most fascinating aspects of this research is the impact exercise has on the structure of the brain itself.
Oh, I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
The book mentioned that exercise can actually increase the volume of certain brain regions, particularly the hippocampus, which is vital for memory.
Exactly. It's like exercise is giving our brains a workout.
Okay.
Stimulating the growth of new brain cells and strengthening the connections between them.
So it's literally rewiring our brains for better cognitive function.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this has profound implications for our ability to learn new things, adapt to change, and maintain our cognitive health as we age.
This is absolutely groundbreaking.
It really is.
It's like we've been given this incredible gift,
Yeah.
the ability to shape and enhance our own brains through the power of movement.
And it's a gift we can all access regardless of our age, fitness level, or background.
Right.
It's simply a matter of making the choice to move our bodies and reap the incredible benefits for our minds.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation.
Me too.
It's completely reframed my perspective on exercise.
Good.
It's no longer just about fitting into my jeans or hitting the gym.
Right.
It's about investing in my brain, my creativity, my overall well-being.
And that's a powerful shift in mindset.
Yeah.
When we start to see exercise as an investment in our cognitive capital, it becomes less of a chore and more of an essential part of living a fulfilling and meaningful life.
And this brings us back to the book's central message, the importance of embracing the mind-body connection.
It's all connected.
We can no longer afford to treat our minds and bodies as separate entities.
Right.
They are intricately intertwined, influencing and impacting each other in profound ways.
Absolutely. And movement is the bridge that connects them.
Yeah.
It's the key to unlocking our full potential, both physically and mentally.
So what does all this mean for us?
Good question.
What practical steps can we take
Yeah.
to start reaping the incredible benefits of a more active brain?
Yeah.
The book talks about the importance of simple everyday movement, But what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it's about finding ways to incorporate movement into your daily routine, even if it's just for a few minutes at a time.
Okay.
Take the stairs instead of the elevator.
Okay.
Walk or bike to work if possible.
Right.
Park farther away from your destination.
Yeah.
Stand up and stretch regularly throughout the day.
It's about those small, consistent actions that can make a big difference over time.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's about finding activities that you genuinely enjoy.
Right?
So that moving your body feels less like a chore and more like a celebration of life.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It's not about forcing ourselves to do something we hate.
Right.
It's about rediscovering the joy of movement.
Absolutely. Whether it's dancing, hiking, swimming, playing a sport,
Yeah.
or simply taking a leisurely stroll in nature.
Right.
Find what brings you joy and make it a regular part of your life.
The book also mentions the importance of finding a workout buddy or joining a group fitness class
Yeah.
to help stay motivated and accountable.
That's a great point. Having a social support system can make a huge difference.
Right.
It's more fun to exercise with others.
Yeah.
And it can also help you stay consistent with your routine.
It's like having a built-in cheerleader to encourage you along the way.
Exactly. And you can also learn from each other and share tips for staying active.
I'm definitely going to be looking for some fun ways to move my body and engage my brain.
Good.
This deep dive has been incredibly inspiring.
I'm glad to hear that.
But before we wrap things up,
Okay.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on one final question.
Okay, shoot.
What if physical activity were prescribed as readily as medication? What if doctors wrote prescriptions for walks in the park or dance classes?
Interesting.
How might our world be different if we truly embraced the mind-body connection?
Yeah, it's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we could shift our healthcare system to one that prioritizes preventative measures like exercise,
Right.
I think we'd see a dramatic shift in our collective well-being.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where doctors prescribed a daily dose of movement
Right.
alongside, or even instead of medication,
Right.
for conditions like stress, anxiety, and depression.
It would be a complete paradigm shift.
It would.
I mean, we've learned so much today about the profound impact of physical activity on the brain.
Yeah.
It's not just about physical health.
Right.
It's about mental fitness, creativity, and even intelligence.
And it's about reclaiming our evolutionary heritage.
Right.
Remember, our brains evolved in an environment
Right.
where movement was essential for survival.
Right.
It's only in recent times that we've become so sedentary.
It's like we've forgotten how to move.
Yeah.
But the mind-body method reminds us that it's never too late to reconnect with our bodies
Right.
and unlock the incredible potential of our brains.
Absolutely. Every step we take, every movement we make
Yeah.
is a step towards a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling life.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's time to start seeing exercise as an investment in our most valuable asset,
Which is our
brains.
Her brains, exactly.
This deep dive has truly been an eye-opener.
Good. I'm glad.
It's made me realize that movement isn't just something I should be doing.
Yeah.
It's something I want to be doing.
That's the key.
I'm excited to explore all the different ways I can incorporate more movement into my daily life.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's not about forcing yourself to do something you hate. It's about finding joy in movement, experimenting, and discovering what works best for you.
We hope this deep dive has inspired you to rethink your relationship with movement.
Yes.
And to embrace the incredible power of the mind-body connection.
Remember, every step you take is a step towards a healthier and happier you.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep those brains and bodies moving.
And that's our summary for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to grab your free copy of the audiobook using the link in the description below. See you next time.